Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. I'm newtmechanist, and tonight we are continuing our playthrough of For Your Tranquility. Frog crimes, as it were. We're not quite at a roadblock, but we're definitely trying to find more pieces of evidence in this, trying to connect the dots so that we can get the right answer to the crime. So, not really sure how much longer is left, but we're going to find out. I see Tass and Kebo were in here earlier. But let's check in with the kitties first. All of them, apparently, are off camera. Sammy's passing through the play area as soon as I say that. Hello, Sammy. Ember's getting some food and water. Sammy has come back to perforate my legs. I tried to trim her murder mitts a little bit earlier, and she was having none of it, so she dodged. Wondering where they've all gotten to. There is a new folded blanket at the foot of the bed that you can't see them at, but, they can't all be there. We will set it to the bed cam for now. It's usually a common spot for a couple of them to go. We'll keep an eye out. Ember passing through the play area. Hey there, Tass. How's it going? See where Ember goes. She is definitely passing near the bed by this point. There she is, up by the window. She's probably looking at critters or a bird. We generally will put old fruit and whatnot out there to attract some of the smaller critters. But let's get into it here. This is a heavy investigation game for those joining us for the first time, which means we need to review evidence and fill in the blanks. There are a bunch of questions that we need to answer within the evidence, and then we're going to have to make an assertion about the crime. We have everything from direct evidence from crime scene in related places, newspaper articles from around the same times, those kind of things. Just informative, but we have things like this that mentions particular plants that are poisonous. We know that wolfsbane is potentially involved. So we'll see what we can get. One thing that I was thinking of is verifying where the poison came from. We still can't get a good idea of where the pills are from. We might have to lower this a little bit further. There we go. I do like the music. It's relaxing, but it can be a little bit loud, strangely. I'm still trying to find music like this to use in the stream sometimes. Hey there, Kebo. Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's see here. Close. Hey there, Dana. Welcome to you as well. We're trying to solve frog murder. Well, that's got to be irritating there, Kebo. Okay, so the diuretic was put in earlier than the crime. Hey there, Zell. Let's see here. Add a bit of analysis as far as timeline. Okay, he was definitely dead on September 10th. We know that the brother wanted to have him forcibly committed at a very sketch hospital on the 10th. So one of my assertions that I think we can make is that the brother is the one that slipped the diuretic in his pills, or he had someone else do it. But let's see here. This guy was murdered. His sister, earlier than the crime, put something that he's allergic to in some of his drink. But it looks like that happened before the death. Like, I think a day before the death. Let's look at that real quick here. It's home. Pill bottle. There's like 5 more things at his house. Interesting. But box of juice. Okay. He drank this 2 days earlier. And we know he had an allergic reaction based on marks on his throat and similar. But that puts it before the time of the crime. Where? Okay, no, there's 5 more things that we could analyze for clues. The letter from his mom was some time ago. That's her telling him that she knew he was abusive towards his wife and similar. We have a semi-rare appearance of Ember up at the window tree. I think Sky is currently in his spot now. Let's see here. This was the formal complaint that he was filing against the factory where he worked for the maiming that he suffered. Hey there, Angel. Welcome, welcome. As the title indicates, we are trying to solve frog crimes. Let's see. His sister or his mother, who is that? Lee. No, his coworker. That's right. His coworker helped him write the sign. Still don't know clearly who was supposed to be taking this. A diuretic was added, and he's on a diuretic, which leads me to believe this is I think the sleep aid for his wife. Did he drug his wife? Oh, that's an interesting thought. So what if it is... his wife? She was taking the meds. And then... No, okay, that's not the question. The sister wasn't jealous, Dana. She was upset with him because one of the times that he came to her job, he was disruptive or something like that and got her fired. But again, the revenge that she took seems to have happened earlier. She got some orange juice, replaced it with mango juice, which he is allergic to. And that seems to have been taken to his house by his mother. Prescription? No. Should have been... No. Let's look at that prescription again. Even he. Yeah. It's a prescription for her. Still don't know enough about that pill bottle. We're burning through our analysis credit here. The death was on the 10th, I believe. Again, 2 days earlier was when the orange juice was drank, I believe. Let's look at... Don't know that we can do anything with that. Okay, I wanted to look at the scissors. Who used the scissors? So we can put identification on that. To our little bat friend here. Add the scissors. Add the wolf's bane. He didn't work at that time, Dana. By that point, he was still off of work and was starting to protest the factory where he worked at, because when he was maimed at the factory, they prevented anybody from calling it in, so he never got proper medical treatment, and his life started to really fall apart at that point. He wasn't a great person before that, though. Everything we know about the pill bottle, everything we know about the juice box. We know this is just his sketchbook from before. He used to be into art, but after losing one of his thumbs, I believe, he lost the ability to do any sketching. Pretty sure, I think the note is from the factory supervisor threatening him. We're pretty sure the mango juice was both still in his stomach and the likely cause of the hives around his neck. The mango juice was still in his stomach based on his ongoing medical conditions at the time. The guy was a wreck. But he did not die of asphyxiation around that time. Hey, there's Squinnick, joining us for some frog crime. The most likely cause that we have right now is wolfsbane poisoning in some alcohol, but we haven't found definitive proof of that, which is why I'm checking the shears and the wolfsbane plant to see if somebody else may have taken action regarding that, because he does have wolfsbane in his stomach. Did we get the liquor cabinet? Let's check the detail there. We know his wife was hurt on the mirror prior to the mother. Let's see. We know that the first person to get in a fight with him was after he went to the convenience store and that second person bumped into him. He kind of flies into a rage, drags him to the nearby park, has an altercation with him where he injures that person with a knife. It is clear that person was hurt and fled. It's also seemingly clear that he was alive after that. No sign of cancer, Dana. Or at least as a cause of death. He did have liver cirrhosis. He did have a lot of bad conditions, like heart problems, that kind of thing. But view of the cells and the organs didn't show any of that as a likely cause of death. But something that could have happened eventually. Like, the guy was falling apart. We know he ate the cup noodle. There's signs of that. Switch the cat cam. There's definitely signs of that in his stomach, but no signs of contamination in the cup noodle. And I expect if we checked it, it could have been any... Let's see. We know the knife doesn't seem related to his injuries. There's still the mark on his throat, the slice on his throat that was done by somebody that was apparently professional, but it is scarred over. Or it's implied that it was a scar, but translation issues do come into play in this game. The bloodstain at the park is from the guy he got in a fight with. Sand and rocks is when he fell over. The fall over seems to be because he stepped on his shoelace while chasing the first guy. First guy asserts that he was chasing him, falls over, but then he saw him get back up. Second guy who was following him, there's a gap in time. He asserts he went to the bathroom, came back. The guy was already on the ground. He was instructed by his boss, who he called, the boss who's trying to get him, trying to stop the guy's protest, to throw him in the water and dispose of his phone. The phone is thrown in the grass. The body is thrown in the water, but the guy has second thoughts and drags him back out. He asserts that he was still alive at the time. And we can see about 5 minutes later, the victim's bowels void, which is around the time of death then. So he died shortly thereafter. He did not asphyxiate on the water in the river. So it's likely that he died either before he went in the river and the guy is wrong about vitals, or he died after. And that's still where the wolfsbane, I think, comes in. Because it is a lethal poison to frogs. again, I'm checking the wolf's bane and the plant shears, the pruning shears, to see who may have used them, because that really could change it. All right. No new evidence here. This is results. Scissors. Okay, the mother, I think. It's the mother, right? And we'll check. Okay, the father, I believe. No. Hey there, Adam. I get that you keep suggesting that, Dana, but I've been over why the orange juice is unlikely to be the cause of death. Because again, he had the allergic reaction before that day. It was still in, like, the mango parts were still in his stomach. But we also don't know if those mango chunks are related to the juice. Because he drank the juice 2 days earlier. His health condition at the time meant that his digestive processes were slowed. Meaning that stuff was in his stomach much longer after he consumed it. It passed through more slowly. It's in his vomit at the time. Okay. Go Xinjuan and Li Jungsuk. Okay. The mother messed with the liquor cabinet, and he touched the liquor cabinet. We don't know who took it. His mother messed with the shears. Oh. Oh. He touched the wolf's bane. Also. Oh. Okay. The wolf's bane DNA puts a wrinkle in this. His sister touched the wolf's bane, but so did he. Like the flower. Hey there, Fraggy. I feel confident based on what the aconitine poison, aconitine poison does. That's probably what killed him. The scissors are like pruning shears for all the flowers that his mother kept. But as far as who touched the plant, 11 on the 10th. No, let's check that. Analysis results. Okay, about 2 hours before his death. They touched the wolf's bane, and he got wolf's bane in his stomach. There's just ramen and saliva, so it was not delivered through the cup noodle. It was not delivered through the pill bottle. Is this the diary? No. Pretty confident based on her blood being found, like it's at her flesh, so like it sliced her up bad. The mirror hurt her. But we want to get all these right. Sometime before. Like, the mirror is not directly related. I should, Dana. I should. That's the goal. Okay, so he throws the bottle at the mirror. She gets hurt by it. Is it related to the liquor bottle, is what they want to say? No. Hey there, Claw. Welcome, welcome. We're trying to solve a murder. We're working through the remaining evidence to make sure that we've got the full story. Well, thank you, Claw. I appreciate the compliment. And hello, Michael. Know most of this. Frog crime sci-fi. So, this guy died in the park. And we're trying to figure out, was it murder? Was it, natural death? That kind of thing. The loan shark asserts that they didn't know that he was dead. We don't know that that's the case, but we have no signs of anybody else at the location. So, doesn't seem related. Were you the one that asked about aircraft? Murder seems very likely. His pants have scratches in them, but he's wearing shoes that are really old. No change in his wallet. Again, that tells us about the time of death. The blood stain is from the first guy in the fight. The shoelace has signs that he stepped on it. So this is probably why he fell and how he got the scratches on his head and knee. There are signs of like gravel in his head, deep in his head before the skull. But the damage to his brain seems to have been light in surface level, not enough to cause like hemorrhaging or anything like that. This is the river water, which does not appear in his lungs again. This is the delivery guy that he had that he stabbed essentially. And this is both of them essentially like grabbing at each other's neck, that kind of thing. This is a vomit stain or a stain from the drink. Let's see. Because he did throw up the mango here. And the vomit, based on our check, was related to the purple flower. So that caused him to throw up. We have... I know some folks that play Pokemon Go. This is... Yeah, he threw up because the aconitine poison. Now, this is the rash from the juice box, but that puts that earlier based on when the juice box was tainted. Like, one of the juices was open that he drank earlier than that, 2 days before. So this is his allergic reaction. You have said that, Dana, yes. This is the injury. Dana, you have now said that 6 times in a row. That's 7. Please stop. Last warning. These are the bruises from the fight with the delivery guy, the indication that the reason that the delivery guy was driven off was because of the knife. I also stream on Twitch. The other people I am talking to right now, Sci-Fi, are in the widescreen format on YouTube. So it's widescreen on YouTube and Twitch, and also tall format on YouTube. A lot of people come through the tall format because it is in the shorts feed. So we don't know about this scar. I'd like to rule out the scar on his neck. People come and go through the channel. From what I can tell, additionally, YouTube is pretty aggressive about changing the numbers of people watching based on whether you're idle or not. That's fine, Dana. Pretty sure the knife is related to how the wound was inflicted. Actually, let's try bloodstain and knife. No. So these wounds on the finger are described as something that you'd get from a attack wound. So this is where it's a possibility that when a person is striking something, that their grip slides down the knife and would cut the the interior of the fingers. This is like a stabbing motion kind of thing. Not enough to like fully maim, but enough to cut, you know? Not across the palm. And the assertion is it's not self-defense. So this is where translation gets wonky. Now, I'm going to take a wild guess here. That his father, and then then it was inflicted with the switch. Yeah. Okay. Almost certainly not, Dana, because the translation is already happened. The game was originally in Korean, but all of the text has already been translated to English. I don't know what that is, Claw. Okay, so this is unrelated. He has scars over many parts of his body from when his father beat him as a child. And this scar in the neck is likely something that is referred to by the sister or the brother, where he almost died from one of the beatings. But that means that's not there. That's not related. So it's as if by a professional, I think was more by somebody who was used to it or somebody who knew what they were doing. The father was also a school teacher, so you get the impression that the father was very liberal with the use of that stick, so had likely become proficient with it. Okay, so we know this is not a injury from like an encounter. We are going to put this as the head wound. I don't play anything related to Roblox, Claw. So I wouldn't be able to tell you. Scratch marks. Do we have something for the... It's not the head wound. I've heard that some of the things in Roblox end up being very high quality. You could swing over and ask directly, Dana. Okay, maybe it's saying a person can assert. Then bloodstain? No. No. A knife? have to autopsy, finger wound. The short form stream, Dana. Okay, then let's switch that up. Go to the family home, marks on the wall, and then... No. The other YouTube stream. This really seems to be he fell down. But I don't have... I thought somewhere in this we had a marker for the rocks in the injury. Okay, shoelace, he trips, he falls. Yeah, he was chasing. So perhaps we need to do... shoelace. We don't... There we go. Okay. He falls, he hits his head. And that is during the encounter. That puts... That's still the insertion that he was alive at the time. Well before 12:10. Okay, an hour before his manager was there. And the fishing rod was discarded. Wait. Okay. So his fishing rod broke and he threw it away at about 12:05. Then 5 minutes later, he's finished smoking and drinking. We know the deceased was still alive after that. So he throws up 13:10. He has the toxic alkaloid. He also has the insomnia med. Hey there, Jibanyan. Yes, you see Sky up in his tree. So there's the mango and the ramen in his vomit, but this is an indication that he has lethal poison in his system. That's 5 minutes before he dies. That takes effect. Go to here. The purple flower was messed with 2 hours before he dies. I have 5, Dana. I used to be into Skylanders, but the game started to diminish in quality pretty wildly. I like the Yokai Watch games, not the manga or the cartoon. I liked Ni no Kuni 2 better than 1, but 1 was also a very good game. It had a lot going for it. The narrative was really strong. Yeah, I preferred the earlier Skylanders. Else, we don't need to know really about the crutches, I don't think. Yeah. Was the familiars and the concept of how they were used in Ni no Kuni 1 was good. I think the actual battle mechanic was a little sloppier than it could have been, but the spirit of the like I said, the concept of it was actually really neat. Sort of if I recall, it's kind of what one of the not the latest Pokemon, like 2 before maybe, the Arceus one, the in the past one. I'm told that it had a similar vibe to it where, the player was present in the battle alongside the familiars. But I think that was neat in Ni no Kuni, where you were there with your minions. It was neat. The Yokai Watch games I liked because a decent portion of them had a relatively serious vibe in a modern setting. Not all the time, but some of the encounters had a darker tone to them, and there were impacts directly on people's lives from the critters. Anywho, marks on the wall are related to that. I really feel confident that his finger wounds are related to the marks on the wall. If we reverse this, where we say marks on the wall, and then knife. No. We'll continue this in a moment. Gonna take our first break of the evening, try to get up and move around a little bit, and then we'll pop back in. Just a moment. All right, settling back in here. And we're back. If I already do this. Okay, well, really seems like this is... I don't know that we actually need to fill this in. Do knife, then marks on wall. Okay. This is where the phrasing comes in. Can tell how it was inflicted. Do you mean somebody? Do you mean do you mean some evidence at the scene? Like shows, do you mean can tell? And I don't think the broken mirror is related, so we don't necessarily have to get that out of there. What I need to figure out is how... What was the delivery vector? It's the missing bottle is the thing. And how did it get to him? He was already drunk by the time he got there. At his home, Okay, he drank this earlier in the day. So this just has alcohol in it. Is there a bottle anywhere? After he left, something else we can check there. Yeah, it's around 1315 is when he dies. The Wolfsbane is messed with at about noon. It's discarded at 1310. This lines up with the spy story, essentially. And we know the night before he's called by Kim, probably pestering him more. There's no signs that this was actually used as a weapon. Hey there, sniper. So we've got to figure out if it's the wolves. Well, how did the Wolfsbane get in his system? He throws up at 10. So it already had to be in his system by 10. Vomit contains the poison. We're playing a game called For Your Tranquility, Sniper. We're trying to solve a murder. Stains, scratch marks, shoes. His phone is. That's the fishing rod, the vomit, the knife, beer and the cigarettes. The delivery vector for the Wolfsbane is the tricky thing. We know we found everything there. Where is it? Let's do a trace analysis on that. What else? Is there anything else we can do a trace analysis? Check that. We don't really care about the work uniform. It's been a while since that was used. Check that. We're going to do components found in the river water, just to be sure. Getting our evidence here. Chemical, was it? It's digital. River water. Chemical. Hey there, Jorn. Who added to case log? Okay. Okay, just the plankton. We're playing a game called For Your Tranquility, Jorn. It is a heavy investigative game. It was 3 hours before his death that they messed with it. We know that there's an alcohol bottle missing. That lines up with the story of the father. The alcohol bottle was floral wine. The floral wine includes azalea, which is in, like, that's part of it, and we have signs of that in his stomach as well as the purple. We're trying to determine how somebody died. It really looks like it was wolfbane poison. But we're trying to figure out who it was. So we know his mother touched the cabinet and he touched the liquor cabinet. And we don't know if he took the same thing. Because he said the floral wine was missing. Which lines up here. One possibility is that she drugged the wine. I don't know. She might have been going after her husband. They have a very dysfunctional relationship. And perhaps he took it. He's drunk by the time he leaves the house. Okay, so it definitely fell to the floor. And then was thrown in the bushes. His fingerprints in the fingerprints of the spy. There was a guy that was told or paid or something like that to follow him around. We have evidence that he was. His story lines up with everything, except we can't really prove that he is unrelated to the event. He's very emphatic about it, is what goes on there. So if we... Oh. Okay, let's... I think I have an idea for solving this. Autopsy. Finger wound. digital history, statement of his father. This is related. The marks on the wall. No. The knife? Okay, let's reverse that. Wasn't his statement, actually. I still think this is a translation problem. Because he visited all out of the blue, took a knife with him, saying he wants his kids back. He takes that knife to the shelter. He visited the shelter early. He's drunk. He tried to take the bus. Well, he took the bus, goes to the shelter, gets turned away, goes back to his family's house, takes the knife, threatens his father, though if I had to guess, there was more of an altercation. Yeah, I yelled at him and he held the knife at me and stabbed the wall. Like, it really should be this statement and the marks on the wall tell us how he hurt his hand. But I don't know that we really need that information. But it's based on that. The mark on his hand has nothing to do with his death. Her initial statement. She used to sing on the bar at the bar. Initially, his sister says it was probably his father. This is her talking about how the father abused them, that kind of thing. But after having found the juice, we get a second statement from her. It's her brother came along, caused a scene, she got fired. She sends the juice to the mother's house, filled it with mango juice instead. Had a mango allergy. She wanted to hurt him, but her assertion is she didn't intend to kill him. Wait. No. Oh, okay. Her father also has the mango allergy. She was trying to hurt her father, but her mother took the juice to the son's house. Hey there, Drew. Yep, frog crime. Okay, it's she targeted her father with it, but the mother brought the juice to his house. Um, he doesn't assert that he saw him taking the wine. He mentioned that it was missing. Like many things sci-fi, it doesn't help your case if you have to explain it. You have made the equivalent of I have a blank friend. It's I'm not racist kind of thing. The source of the wine bottle is critical here. His wife doesn't seem related. She has been in the shelter for a period of time, doesn't seem to have visited anybody related to this. Let's do a cat check. One possibility here is that the wife finally got fed up and tried to poison her husband by drugging his bottle of floral wine. The son came at some point and took the bottle of wine. He drinks that wine and is eventually killed by it. So it could be an accidental killing, like a, you know, wrong target. We have not been able to get testimony from the mother because she passed out when we tried to get the initial statement. Yeah. Being treated at the hospital. Can we go to the hospital? We cannot. Can we call the hospital? Cannot. We have evidence of what that number would be. This hospital is known to be really shady. Like, they treat their patients very badly, and they're known for facilitating non-consensual commitment, like commitment, where people are forced to stay there and locked up. Because the mother already has something against the son. There's the possibility that she tried to poison him with the mango juice. It was not lethal. And that she subsequently gave him the bottle of the wine, but because we do have traces of her touching the shelf recently. So the missing bottle of floral wine. We have his fingerprints and hers. We know that there was an alcohol bottle there. Okay. Okay, the timeline doesn't line up for the missing bottle to be relevant. Unless the wife took it early. But her traces aren't on the purple flower. So it's his fingerprints. He gets the bottle of wine early. That could be just the trace of the pink flowers. So it might not have been drugged wine. We could get any of these other statements. Let's... call this... Oh, no. Oh, we can hang up. Anything new from the police department? Nope, nothing new from them. Hey there, Lucas. Hey, the coworker. This is the father's statement. We should just do the transcript. We're trying to solve frog crime. Well, thank you, Lucas. Can we get... Okay, let's get timeline analysis on a few things here. Marks on the wall. When were the scissors used? Yeah, we don't actually need... No. It's weird. Why is the liquor bottle not crossed out? Huh. You know when that was broken? Everything about that. Let's check that. Let's get those wounds checked. Hey there, legend. Okay, so we've been playing this game for a little bit. We have a murder in a park. and we're trying to piece together all of the details about it so that in our autopsy report we can give a recommendation for the likely cause of death and potentially a perpetrator. So if we look here, we have who is the most likely culprit, why did they do it, what was the cause of death. We have a lot of potential suspects. Probably not that. I have no idea what they mean by group interest. But this is what we have to put together, and then we'll confirm it. This is all the evidence that we've collected. If it says completed, we've been able to answer stories about it. We have 100 uses of the analysis teams to give us information. Okay, 2 days ago, he drinks that and spits up the mango. Or he dribbles it on himself. Huh. Wait. Anyway, let's check some of the other stuff here. Yeah. $11 on the 10th. Okay. His fingerprints and his sister's fingerprints. But just her fingerprints. Odd. This aconitine is the indication that this probably killed him. We know he had lethal poison in his system. Was recently cut by the flower scissors. His sister and the victim touched that flower. And the flower was cut. Okay, this lines it up with the mother. The scissors were used at that time with her fingerprints. But the flowers were cut at about that same time. So she used the scissors, cut that. So we have 3 hours. 3 hours before his death. We have this poison was gathered, like all the blooms were taken. Then 5 minutes after that, his mother touches the shelf, takes the bottle of wine, the floral wine, which has azalea flowers, pink blossoms in it, but we have traces in his stomach of pink and purple, the purple of the wolfsbane, along with the toxin of the wolfsbane. So it implies, okay, 11:05 on the 10th. When do we have? Digital history. Where is O's second statement? Okay. Factory supervisor tells him that he needs to follow the deceased. Factory supervisor has been trying to find information to stop the deceased from protesting the factory because it's making the factory look really bad for the media to find out that they're suppressing worker injury reports. So he takes the bus to the Soto shelter. He goes in, comes back out, muttering. He visits his family's house and went back to the shelter. So this is, he comes in, tries to talk to his wife, who's there because he abuses her. He's turned away. He goes and he gets the knife. Guard stops him. The guard, has to, cuff him. Hey there, Yassine. Welcome, welcome. We're trying to put together a timeline. We can see bruises on his wrists from when he's cuffed. But he gets out of that. He goes to a convenience store. Seems like he's trying to get more booze. A delivery guy comes in, bumps into him. The deceased flips out, starts a fight with that guy. They go out to the park and have the fight. The delivery guy pummels him good, but the knife that the deceased took from his family's house is used at that point. Stabs the delivery guy. Delivery guy flees. He was not present, or at least he was present for the fight, but left. That cat's name is Ember, sci-fi. Ember with an E. You know, like the ashes related kind of Ember. Okay, he has the fight. The guy comes back. He calls. So he finds the guy passed out. He calls his boss, the guy who told him to follow him. Boss tells him, dump the guy in the river and get rid of his phone. He does so, but then he pulls him right back out. The guy's still unconscious. So it's possible. Okay, he's unconscious by 12:10. Hey there, Tanuki. Welcome, welcome. We're trying to put together our murder timeline here. Okay, he calls the boss, tells him to dump him in the river, but that's 12:10. There's an hour between that and the guy's death. Tricky. Tricky. So it's possible that he's unconscious for some other reason at that point. I don't know how fast Wolfbane acts. Yeah, so this is vomiting, dizziness, cramps, shortness of breath. Can be a death due to arrhythmia, but it maybe maybe cause of death was arrhythmia. Is it? Okay. It didn't let us fill this in. Why wouldn't it let us fill this in? More of a droid and closer to Kimono Mimi than furry. Just the ears. What happened in the intervening time? What happened in that intervening time? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Can't be sure he was the one that reserved the gun. Hey there, Foxfire. Set that. Gun seems unrelated though. Gun was not used in the kill. So, where was it? Okay, this is different. This is okay. So 12:10, Kim is there. The manager is there at 12:10. Fishing rod is broken. Beer and cigarettes are there. Then if we look at his second statement, why did you call him at 12:10? That's because, pause, I thought the guy was headed to the park, so I called him to report it. Hey there, Yuki. But this is weird. This is weird. He says he goes to take a leak. I wonder if he went to get Kim. Tell him the guy is at the park. Because there's a distinct possibility that he's there with Kim, and Kim says dump him in the water and throw his phone away. Like I said there, Tanuki, uh, just the animal ears and more of a droid. Make your own inferences from there. There's a distinct possibility that this... The only thing on it... Is there anything else we can analyze about that fishing rod? We've got everything about it. Now, this is a live 2D model, Tanuki. So it's technically a flat image, but it's been rigged up so it has 3D like movements. He said his fishing rod was broken and he discarded it, but the point at which the fishing rod was discarded and that the beer and cigarette that are his were at the park were around the time that the guy said he called Kim. All right, thanks for joining us. So that puts Kim at the time that the guy was unconscious. The guy's very drunk when he leaves his house. But drunk on what? He's already taken the floral wine and the clock's ticking, and we know that he got the wine. Do we have a time on the bus? Let's look at the bus here, digital. Okay. 8:29. He gets on the bus to go to the shelter. This is the guy that's following him. You can see him in the background of 2 security cameras. Okay, so he's on the bus an hour and a half, 2.5 hours before the flowers are taken. So the guy is super belligerent by this point. The bandage on his hand, to me, implies he's already been to his parents' house. Okay. Wait. But no, this is before he goes to his parents' house. He's got a bandage on the hand with the slice on it, which would imply it's not on the marks on the wall, or not from that. It's... The mirror was damaged sometime before. Hey there, Ishmael. Welcome, welcome. We're trying to put together our timeline. The injury on his hand is supposed to be an attack wound. We're playing a game called For Your Tranquility. We're trying to solve a murder. Okay, he stabs up the wall at 10:55. Very shortly after that, the mother... Oh. He knows that the mother was involved in getting his wife into the shelter to protect her from him. He goes to the house after being turned away from the shelter. He goes back there and gets a knife. The father says he threatened him with the knife, and he stabbed up the wall, for no reason, in a frenzy. But these marks on the wall were made at 10:55, 5 minutes before the mother cuts the wolfsbane plant with the shears and messes with the liquor cabinet where there's the missing bottle. So what was she doing in the intervening time? He falls down and gets the head wound from the shoelaces. Don't know where this finger wound is from. What if it's his wife and the mirror is related to that? No. We've got to be able to get a statement from the wife and the mother, but we have all the blanks filled in here. Okay. He had the bottle from the liquor cabinet at this time, but she gets the wolf's bane after he... Yeah, he was handcuffed, he got away. He already has the floral wine. The father's statement doesn't really line up. Analysis, where's that? This is after he leaves. Yeah, it's like 10 minutes after the marks on the wall. That he would have had to linger for a while. Oh, but he has to have, right? Something's very fishy here, Lucas. There is definitely some time here. Okay, so let's figure this out. When did he get to the convenience store? This is 12:30. He's still alive at 12:30. Kim supposedly left. Oh, I'm sorry there. I didn't switch the stream content here. I am trying to make my own game. That will happen a little later today. There we go. I forgot to update what stream was going to be on Twitch. Starting about 4 today, we're going to be getting back into our game development sequence. So if that's what you came for, that's when we'll be doing that. Right now, we're playing a game called For Your Tranquility. Sorry about that. Okay, so he's still alive at 12:30, which is after Kim says he left. That makes sense. This is the guy that he gets in a fight with. This is the guy following him. Well, thank you, Cade. The artist in the rigger did a good job with this. I'm making a Vampire Survivors-like game. The content of it is based off of this character lore, more or less. We're still in the process of learning Godot, the Godot engine, which is what we're coding the game in. This whole timeline is wonky. We have no sign of the liquor bottle here. He opens the door. Bell chimes. Okay, he's grabbing food. And this is where he comes up to the counter. He put the items down, which looks just like a bag of snacks. That is my cat. That is Ember. Let me switch over and show you the rest of them if we can spot them. We can currently see 4 of them. We have Ember. We have Sky up in the cat tree, like at the top of a cat tree. Sammy is on the pillow. That's got to be Sherbet in the other cat tree. And then not visible is Mason. Now, Mason might be on the bed off camera from where Sammy is. Or he might be under the bed. Can't tell. He might be at the foot of the bed. There are several spots that he could be, but he's not on camera. We can see some Ember socks here. So this guy comes in while he's paying. This guy bumps into him. Yeah. Our victim goes crazy and, starts a fight. So grabs him by the neck. Play backs off. Okay, so he takes, I think it's Kang or something like that. He takes the delivery guy by the neck and takes him out to the park for a fight. The fight does not go well for the victim until he pulls a knife. But, okay, it's 12:30. So, before this, he says he called Kim. That doesn't quite line up as far as his reasoning. Go here to his second statement. So why did you call him at 12:10? That lines up with when Kim is at the park. But he couldn't have gone to the park unless he came to the park, then went there. But if we... Okay, he headed to the park. He got in a fight with someone at the park. This is 12:30. He called him before that. Kim was at the park up until at least 12:15. This is the supervisor who wants the deceased to stop protesting the factory, to not sue the factory. For the horrible injury he suffered. The guy lost most of his thumb. And can't do his art anymore. He's left-handed, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's weird because he calls him at 12:10. Kim shows up at the park around that time. We have the discarded fishing rod and we have the beer to corroborate that part of the timeline that he was called at 12:10. But the fight happens at 12:30. It's 45 minutes until his death. Now, if we look at Kang's statement here, he was on probation. They get in a fight. His statement is he beats up the guy, the victim. There are bruises to corroborate that. But the guy pulls a knife and, at least slices him. He says the guy chased him with the knife and fell over. Hey there, Daniel. Welcome. We're putting together a murder timeline here. From the looks of it, the victim steps on his own shoelace and falls over. He injures his knee and head. The story of the game that I'm making, Cade, is more related to the lore snippets that I put on my Discord and in Twitter prior to the debut of this model, as well as bits of the Noida mod I made some time ago. Got up, the guy booked it. So after 12:30, he's still alive, which makes sense. There's no sign of injury on him at the convenience store. Daniel, this is a game called For Your Tranquility. It is a murder investigation game. We have to examine crime scenes, interview people, and piece together the killing. It's 12:30. Okay, now we have about 45 minutes, maybe 30 minutes between the fight in the park and his death. Ricky. We need signs of somebody else at that park. Because we only have... this game, Daniel, I was looking for detective games. Potentially with creepier elements to play around Halloween last year. I never got to this one, but it's proving very engrossing. I do like detective style games. Let's look at Kim's statement again. Supervisor, he forged the receipt, refuses to talk about it, saying that He went to the park after he left, which is a timing thing. See, it mentions that the line was severed. It could be that the line broke. But it's weird that the line broke if the fish weren't biting, you know? Again, might be a translation problem. Um, this is a game that is native Korean, if I understand it right. Uh, and there's definitely some translation oddities and flaws. So we have things like double commas, we have weird phrasing. Never saw him after he was fired. Why would I see him? He was in contact with him though, repeatedly threatening him. Yeah, he threatened him, but he says he never tried to kill him. We have no evidence that the fishing rod was used in violence. If I had to guess, he is called by his spy and told he's near the park. The guy goes to the park with his fishing rod and whatnot and is waiting for him or is hoping to spot him. But he doesn't. He gets fed up with waiting, doesn't see him, and, probably breaks his fishing rod or something like that and leaves. Still, it's that 30 minutes before his death. That's where our question is. We have that gap. Hey there, Gavin. Welcome to the broadcast. So Yanwu's statement doesn't line up, but part of it does, or at least is confirmed. Apparently, the cops say they know he called Kim at 12:10. I appreciate it, Gavin. And that Kim went to the park. Kim was definitely at the park 12:10 to 12:15. There's definitely a lot of reading in this game, Daniel. It is not a visually flashy game. On the plus side, it has very soothing music. The game, Gavin, is For Your Tranquility. It's a murder mystery game. I previously played the Red Dead Redemption 2. A little bit of the single player, a little bit of the multiplayer. It's okay. So the brother, the hospital gets investigated. They find his calendar that says, on September 10th, he says that's D-Day, which is when the murder happened. And the brother said he was going to take his brother into the hospital because his brother was known for domestic violence and that he wanted to have him committed. But that's a big gap. Why now, you know? But the staff corroborates his assertion. So it might be that he was finally going to do that. He injures his hand before all these events. That's one of my cats there, Gavin. I have 5, and I always keep them on camera. We can see 4 currently. The assertion of the clues is that he already has the floral wine by the time he gets to the shelter the first time. No, it's second time. We don't have the time of this. We get people from all over in the stream sometimes. Had folks from Northern Europe, Eastern Europe, UK. I think we've had some people kind of Brazil area, I think. All over. It's one of the interesting things with streaming like that is you get to meet a lot of folks. I think we've had a couple of German speakers in the chat. Okay. We need to place somebody else at the scene. And we need a timeline of when he was at the house. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the broadcast, Gavin. So he's very terse about where everybody is. Visits out of the blue. Says he wants the knife back. Or says he wants his kids back. threatens the father. Wonder if we can get another statement from the father. But how would we cause that? We need to trigger some sort of extra clue. The mother is in the hospital. She fainted during the interview, the attempt at the interview. We haven't gotten any statement from her. And her actions at 11 and 11:05 are very interesting, given that we know after the house, he is there with a knife and the liquor bottle from the cabinet, threatening them. And that liquor bottle seems to be the most probable cause of death. It really looks like the mother put poison in the bottle. Well, my actual name is Newt, Gavin, as it says in the channel. Could put chemical analysis on the cigarette butt and the knife, but I don't know what that'll really get us. But we might need to. Hey there, Wolf. There's a lot going on in this, Daniel. Document doesn't help us. Gotta be his mother wrote that letter. Get the component found in the traces for the marks on the wall. We'll check the azalea, too. Alright. We're not at risk of running out quite yet, but... I see. Looks like functionally a very different game, though. Else. Don't think chemical analysis on the other plants is really going to help us. Cigarette butt. Knife. Mark on wall. Scissors. Okay, so just smoking. Okay, this was definitely a kitchen knife. Sliced apples, pears, the blood on the knife. Marks on the wall. Definitely related to the knife. The scissors have been used to trim all the flowers. We presume they were used at 11, yeah. That's tricky, Daniel, as the only things that could be watched on the stream in that regard would be public domain stuff. That doesn't cover a lot of anime, and the movies are much older. Hey there, Carlo. Welcome, welcome. This doesn't help us. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that we can get for analysis at the parents' house, but I don't know what any of that would help. Like, we don't care about the wooden stick or any of the flowers, really. Left ankle fracture is some time ago. These are all trophy cabinets for the father. Same with the picture on the wall. Is the father aggrandizes himself very much. So the presumption is that the mother cuts the flowers 10 minutes after the damage to the wall. If we could get when he left the house, that would help. Gavin, watching pretty much anything that isn't a very old movie, like a very old movie, it'd have to be like pre-70s minimum, would be copyright problems. Yes, people do it, people get away with it, but it would be an issue. Okay, one possibility is that the mother was trying to kill the father. this statement here. Oh, no. 8:15. His diary. This is after. So between here and there is when she goes to the shelter. Get the timeline on that. It is, but this game takes place in the past, Gavin. Or at least, it's a completely different reality than ours. It's 7, though. He writes the letter on the 7th. On, like, July 14th. 7/14. He's threatened later. We know that Kim is aware of her being in the shelter. So after this event, when the letter was written, she writes in her diary the concern about the kids. But is that the concern about his kids, the deceased kids, or her own? It's still noticeably before the death, though. Because we're looking at September 10th. That's 2 months prior. We need something sooner. Something closer to the event. This doesn't seem to be... This doesn't seem to be a long-planned thing. I already answered the only question that you've actually had. I am aware that it's 2024. Some statement from her. That'd be useful. But we can't. When does he have the wine bottle? We could have a timeline for this. That'd be great. brother's thing seems to be a red herring. But we have plenty of time. Early morning. Any other elements of the timeline, like trace or timeline we can get that might help us here? We know when he throws up. Let's look at the head wound timeline. $12.50. Okay, that lines up, so my voice is male presenting, Gavin, but the body is genderless. $12.50. So he falls down at $12.50. Really doesn't line up. It would have been a protracted fight. Because it's about 12, let's say 12:40 when they go to the park. Signs are pointing to the mother, but he falls down. The guy says he gets up. So now there's 20 minutes between the guy falling down and getting back up when the delivery guy says he ran, and when he throws up and drops, which implies that the events with Kim at the park are potentially separate. Thanks for joining us, Gavin. He goes to the park, potentially encounters Kim. Maybe an argument or something like that happens. Does not seem to have been an altercation. The only traces on the fishing rod are Kim's feathers. So no signs of injury from the fishing rod. Head injury, all of that. Doesn't seem related. all the head injury related to the shoelace. Nothing about the head injury, though, is likely to cause death. So really could be accidental death. Not death by disease. I think homicide or accidental death. This is related to the mother's actions. This is related to the father's actions. This is related to Kim and O. This is related to Kang. I don't think Kang's interaction is the thing. This is related to the loan shark. Loan shark doesn't seem to be involved. Group interest, I have no idea. Group interest is another one of those translation oddities, I think. Anything else we can work with here? Background lore. More background lore. We have Azalea for the Nightingale, which is probably in the liquor cabinet. Prescription. The wife had the Zolpidem. Marks on the wall from the knife. Yeah. Got everything at the parents' house. Everything there. Everything at the park. Talk to the folks at the shelter. For it to have been the Wolfsbane, either it needed to be added to it beforehand, or he was at the house for longer, or arrived later. I think it's awkward phrasing as far as why this happened. But this seems to have happened before he went to the house. Because that hand is bandaged at the bus. So he's already hurt by then. Well, he's already got the hand bandage. Did he actually get the knife from his house? Okay, no. He came back, so he did get the knife from his parents' house. 1240. This lines up about with Kang's story. And the damage to the blade from the wall lines up. So again, still alive all the way up to 1250. About 10 minutes after that, he throws up. And then probably 5 minutes after that, we know he's dead. But Kim was there before the fight happened. Kim was called before the fight happened, which is weird as far as O's story. O says he called Kim at 12:10. Why did he call Kim at 12:10? That was before the guy goes to the convenience store. Yeah, this lines up. He's cut. He starts running. Go chases him, trips on his own shoelace, falls down, and goes from there. It's weird that the injuries... I think that's 10 minutes after, though. Like, did he chase him for like 10 minutes? Where's Kang's statement? So I ran. Kept following me. Okay, so it could be he tried to lose him in the park somewhere, and it was a longer chase than implied. So he falls down, he hurts his knee, hurts his head. The head wound is not sufficient to kill him, nor would the scrape to his knee be. So he goes back to the park. Presumably he drinks the wine then, and gets poisoned. But how would it get into the wine? Did she dispose of the wolf's bane afterwards, clipping all the blossoms and checking the shelf? No, she touched the shelf after trimming them. 5 minutes after them, she goes back to the shelf. Really seems like the gap in time here. Analysis. Cease parents' home. So the purple flower has been touched by the sister and the deceased, but it looks like it was cut at 11 o'clock. Then we have 11:05, but the marks on the wall are probably from 10:55. So there's a 10-minute gap there. It could be that he's at the house for longer. And that she gives him the wine there. All right. We're gonna... I'm gonna make a call here. I think it was the mother to protect the family, and it is homicide by poisonous herb. Not heat stroke. Crush, not fell, didn't blow up, didn't burn. Poisoned. Evening, this is the GBC News, and it is September 16th, so 10 days after the death. Start our broadcast with the accident that happened in Gurry Park. While initially the victim was thought to have drowned in the river, the autopsy results showed that the victim had actually been murdered. The suspect, Miss Lee, was the victim's mother. According to the suspect, she was no longer able to condone... According to the suspect, don't they mean the police? No longer able to condone her son's violence against her daughter-in-law and her grandchildren. That was why she poisoned his alcohol with wolfsbane, a highly poisonous flower. In addition, the alcohol bottle the victim is suspected to have drunk has also been found. Police found the bottle at the lower reaches of the river and sent it to the CSI team. It was also revealed that the victim, Miss Go, has been convicted multiple times. Mr. Go has been convicted multiple times of domestic violence. Yep. And that the suspect, Miss Lee, is currently under police custody for further investigation. Why the long face? Remember what the suspect said. She said she feels responsible for her family's misfortunes. She only did it so no one would have to suffer the way she did. She's still a murderer. She killed a man. We only reveal why the deceased died. Everything else is outside our jurisdiction. You're right. Come on, let's go. This is the character we play. And this is his boss. He treats you to a nice meal. September 10th, 1988. Case docket, whatever. Recording commencing. The following is the confession and statement for the case. It's time to tell the truth. Why did you do what you did? Where should I start? My husband was a tyrant. Since he was an educator, he thought his children ought to get good grades. All right, Lucas, thanks for joining us. The father favored the older brother because the older brother excelled at class. But the victim and the sister, the two younger children, the victim was more into art and the sister was more into music. So both of them were abused by the father. I think it's Shunghan and Miji both wanted to do things other than study. He thought studying was the only way they could achieve greatness. Amiji wanted to learn about music, and Shunghan wanted to learn about art. I think. Probably butchering that name. Korean has spellings of sounds I don't recognize, because while they're using the same letters I use, the sounds for them are different. Some of them. Husband didn't care for that at all, except for Chang-Su, who had the most similar nature to his dad. They were beaten almost every day. And there are scars on the victim's arms, thighs, and neck from that. And the guy prominently displayed the switch that he used. Like, that's in his living room, under the gratuitous portrait, saying they'll make them study and become great people. He thought it was the right way. In the end, the children couldn't stand the oppression any longer. Meiji had a big fight with him and left home to pursue a music career. She kept in touch with me and her brother, but she couldn't patch things up with her dad. After a few years, he left home as soon as he became an adult. He still wanted to pursue art. I was surprised when I heard he got a job at the URI factory. He always wanted to paint, and to hear that he was doing hard labor at a factory. But I was happy to hear that he met someone he loved at that place, and that he was going to marry her. Welcome back, Gavin. I thought at least he will be happy, that even though he was going to follow a different path than his father wanted, he would lead a happy life. But then the incident happened. He got his finger sheared off in a factory accident. We asked for compensation. She wrote the sign for him and helped with the protest. But the factory tried to cover it up. The Ministry of Labor only heard their side of the story and didn't even investigate. The factory manager intimidated all the other workers into not corroborating the victim's story. He protested every day, but nothing changed. Only he changed day after day. As he realized that he couldn't paint anymore, he started drinking. He was becoming like his dad, even being violent towards his wife. That's why I moved her to a care facility. But he went crazy. The cycle was being repeated. And all those horrible things that my husband did, my child was doing the same. I couldn't watch him follow my husband's path any further. That's why this timeline is kind of wonky because his hand is injured by the knife, supposedly when he's damaging the wall, but he has a bandage on his hand already at the bus stop. I wonder if that's a inconsistency with the timeline that they wrote, or if there's something more to it. Yeah, she drops the wolf's bane in the wine, and gives him the wine. This is the bag that he has at the convenience store. Gets on the bus. Yeah, this is an inconsistency in the timeline. This is the bus trip that happens at 8 in the morning. But the knife damage to the wall happens at 11. Goes to the park, gets in a fight with Kang. Kang pummels him. He injures Kang. Chases after him, trips on his shoelace, falls down, hurts his head and leg. Comes to, notices the bottle, goes to the park, sits down, drinks the wine. Lots of wine. He drops that and passes out. That lines up. That all lines up. Now, it's possible that that's wrong, but the follow-up indicates that his mother confesses. So I think we got it right. It took a while. have to see if I can get... I do want to find more music like this. I want to use this in this kind of thing in streams. I like the music that I've got, but I think this sort of very quiet, calm instrumental music would be good as well. Really good piano, you know, bit of string accompaniment. Get piano, violin, and cello. That's a good combo. I'm guessing these are the people that helped fund it. Tomato G. Okay, there are asterisks in some of these names. Is that they contain profanity? Or is that actually part of the name? I wouldn't assume so. Most of these look like screen handles, and that kind of symbol usually isn't used. I don't know. I wonder why those have the 4 stars after them. I don't see an indication of 4 repeated marks after any of the, what I presume is Korean letters. Let's just speed this up a little bit. We want to see if there's anything at the end. Yeah, not every one of the names has that. Wonder what that is. Boy, they got a lot of names here. Oh, there we go. Dot, dot, dot. The power is back on. There are unread voicemails. Like to play them? There might be something important. Message 1. Don't... Oh, okay. This is his cell phone. It said it was currently under repair, so they fixed it. Hey there, King. We're just wrapping up our playthrough of For Your Tranquility. I think we got the murder right. Like the details of it. Don't drink from that bottle you just took. Don't. This is one voicemail. Second message. Dear son, I'm so sorry. So this is probably his mother having second thoughts. I do not, King. I do not. It's all my fault. If there's an afterlife, be happy there. Happy without me. Hey, true ending. Nice. Nice. So there's a lot of false leads in that game, like a whole bunch of them. And to my understanding, there's just the 2. You either get it wrong or you get it right. Yeah, good times, good times. Let's check the kitties one last time here. We can see all 5 of them. So we have, for those in the tall format stream, we have Ember, and then in the tree by the window in the little house is Sherbet. Then on the pillow and the blanket, in that order, are Sammy and Mason. And then up in the other tree is Sky. But yeah. was a good run. We finally got it. To some extent, it was, I had my assertion of what the solution would be, but I was trying to find more confirmation. I think part of the gimmick is that the trace team doesn't get the date and time exactly right. There can be wiggle there, and I think that was part of the problem. That in the amount of time that some of the events took is strange. Like the brawl in the park was apparently 10 minutes ish. But overall, we eventually got it. So good. Feels good. This will free up some more, another slot for different games. I have not played Breath of the Wild. I've seen some play of it. Let's see. So we're going to be wrapping up the gaming session for the day. In about an hour, we're going to start up our game dev, our coding portion of the game, of the day. We've got some pretty big changes we need to start attempting. The physics system that we're using for the game needs some strong review to make sure we get everything right. So we'll do some final checks on what we've got, see if we can't optimize it a little further. And then after that, if that doesn't work, we're going to start experimenting. But yeah. If you're new to the channel and you like what you saw, remember to like, follow, subscribe, so that you can have a chance to see more of my content. And hopefully I'll see you on further streams. If you're going to join us later, we're going to start the coding. Otherwise, thanks for swinging through to join us for the gaming session. So have a nice rest of your day if I don't see you next.